know I'm not tripping. So I slowly turned to my daughter like, did you see that? She was already looking at me and I'm like, girl, did you see that? She was like, yeah, I saw that. Now I know I wasn't tripping. Now, as we discussing this, now we don't see where the lady is. She's not walking in the store. She never got in a car and drove away. She just wasn't there.
I was shopping for a table at Walmart, and a young woman approached me and said she was a missionary from Brazil and asked if she could pray with me, and we had some conversation. And she turned her backpack around and unzipped it and pulled out these 2 books and said, hey, I have these for you, and she handed them to me. And my reflex was to take them. You know, when someone hands you something, you just take it. And I'm looking at these books, and they were wrapped in a plastic wrapper that was kind of worn and a little cloudy looking. And I'm looking at these 2 books wondering what is going on, and she was telling me that I could buy the 2 books from her for $20. And once I realized she was trying to ask me to buy the books, I said, oh no, thank you, I don't need these, but thank you. And I handed them back to her, and she took them back and stuck them in her backpack, zipped it up and said, okay, thank you, and walked away. And I thought, wow, that's a strange thing to happen. And I started walking toward where to check out. And within less than a minute, I'd say 30 seconds to a minute, all of a sudden, boom.
Thousands of people are reporting strange encounters at Walmart. Now, if that sounds ridiculous, you're probably thinking exactly what I thought when I first came across these stories. After all, Walmart is one of the busiest stores in America. Millions of people walk through its doors every single day. Statistically speaking, you're bound to hear strange stories from a place that sees that much traffic. But then I started digging a little deeper. What I expected to find were random ghost stories and internet urban legends. Instead, I found something much more interesting. Hundreds, and in some cases, thousands, of complete strangers describing experiences that sounded eerily similar, despite coming from different states, different backgrounds, and often years apart. Some people describe encountering individuals who seem deeply unsettling, for reasons they can't quite explain. Others claim they've witnessed people appearing or disappearing without any obvious explanation. There are reports of missing time, overwhelming feelings of dread, strange coincidences, children reacting in unusual ways, and even people insisting they keep seeing the same strangers in different Walmart locations across the country. Then there are stories like the one you're just about to hear, from a woman who says both she and her daughter watched someone's smile stretch impossibly from ear to ear before that person seemingly vanished. Of course, extraordinary claims deserve careful scrutiny. Psychology offers several possible explanations for experiences like these. Our brains are exceptional pattern recognition machines, and highly stimulating environments can influence perception in ways we don't always notice. But psychology doesn't explain everything people are reporting. And it certainly doesn't explain why so many unrelated individuals continue describing remarkably similar experiences. So, what exactly is happening here? Are these stories simply examples of confirmation bias and internet folklore feeding on themselves? Is Walmart such an overwhelming environment that our minds begin connecting unrelated events into meaningful narratives? Or is there something else? Something people genuinely believe they're encountering that deserves to be examined rather than immediately dismissed. Over the next few minutes, we're going to look at the stories, the psychology, the cultural beliefs, and the patterns emerging from thousands of comments across the internet. We're not here to tell you what to believe. We're here to investigate why one ordinary retail store has become the center of one of the internet's strangest modern mysteries. That's where this investigation begins.
Hear me out, y'all. This gonna sound wild, but you know I'm gonna get you to think every time. Do y'all think there are portals in Walmart, or at least in the Walmart parking lot? I promise y'all, be some strange shit every time I go to that damn store. Meanwhile, I keep carrying my ass over there. But something about that place is not normal. And I'm not just talking about the fact that they make us bag our own shit, bring it up too, and harass us at the door for the receipt, like you ain't just watch me do this shit. If you ever just sit and observe some shit, you're gonna notice there's some strange beings at Walmart, as well as some strange energy. So December 2024, I pull into Walmart parking lot. I got my youngest daughter Jada with me in the passenger seat. Before I get out the car, I'm like, let me make sure I got all my cards, my keys, everything in my purse. So I'm looking down, fidgeting in my purse, and something just tells me to look up. I glanced over at the lady standing in the parking lot. I just give it a quick glance, make sure everything copacetic, and I go back to minding my business. Right before I was about to stop looking at these ladies, I noticed something. This lady's smile went from ear to ear. Y'all know that movie Smile? Yeah. She looked just like that. I know I be in my own universe. I was like, I'm not that up there. No, I'm not tripping. So I slowly turned to my daughter like, did you see that? She was already looking at me and I'm like, girl, did you see that? She was like, yeah, I saw that. Now I know I wasn't tripping. Now, as we discussing this shit, now we don't see where the lady is. She's not walking in the store. She never got in a car and drove away. She just wasn't there. Needless to say, I drove my ass to the other Walmart across town. I wasn't shook or none of that. I chose not to interact with that type of energy. It was giving real demonic. But I'm not the only one who had strange encounters at Walmart. There have been many people who reported people glitching and shit, shadowy figures, eerie presences. Like I said, if you pay attention long enough, you're gonna see people appearing or disappearing out of nowhere, just like that lady did. Also, I heard about a time distortion phenomena that happens at Walmart. You ever went into Walmart and felt like the time just disappeared? You walk in thinking you're gonna be there for just a few minutes, but then you look up and 2 hours done passed. You like, how? Another dimension? Did we enter another dimension? I can also remember one time seeing a person like glitching completely out, like frozen in time, in Walmart parking lot. This was before I was fully awake. I didn't know what the hell I was looking at. And I've seen people reporting seeing the same person twice. They pass somebody going in the entrance and then moments later they pass the same exact person going in the opposite direction. Kind of feels like they walk through a loop. Or the cars that seem to appear out of nowhere. Like you park, there's nobody in the spaces near you. You look down for 1 second, boom, now all the space is filled. As of lately, the energy in the store that I go to feels completely off. It looked like a damn dungeon. Very dull, everything automated. Just feel off. Think about how many people move through Walmart on a daily. That's a great place if you do want to harvest energy. Walmart is an all-you-can-eat buffet of stress, frustration, impulse buying, exhaustion. You know how many people get anxiety before they have to go in that damn store? There's a reason for that. And I already talked to y'all about the layout of the store, like why the children's aisle is so secluded. Could have been anywhere else. And do not come on here talking about the marketing. That absolutely makes no sense. In my mind, Walmart is like an interdimensional rest stop. You never know who or what the hell you gonna see there. Like I said, I try to stay away, but you know, I find myself there here and there. Best believe my head be on a damn swivel. Y'all, these are just my thoughts and theory. Let me know if y'all agree. Have you seen some strange shit going down at Walmart or in the parking lots?
Method, we used to use it until they started getting weird. Now, on their limited sense, like how it says, shower reading collection. All right? So we're going to flip it over to the back. And you see it says a psychic revelation. You see what it says? So it's best to use the spirit of discernment and start looking at stuff before you buy it, because it is on all of the limited sense. You see that? So just be careful. You never know what you're using.
Right, so I'm walking through Walmart. This catches my eye. Look what it says. But sorry, it's a little messed up, but I don't even want to read it because this shit's demonic. But look at this shit. It's telling you shit, bro. It literally has you do a ritual, bro. To summon. Hell no. And then it laughs at you after. Basically saying like you screwed yourself. So look at that. Oh, look at that. Hell no. I just got the chills just looking at this, dude. Nope.
I have another example of spiritual warfare in products that you use every day. Here in Walmart, this is the honey pot foaming feminine wash. It says on it, I was suffering with BV for 8 months when an ancestor came to me in a dream and gifted me with a vision to heal myself. With her help, I created the honey pot to solve for what other brands wouldn't. Feminine care powered by herb. When you spend your money on stuff like this, you are coming into agreement with it. You have to use discernment and read everything. We live in a messed up world, I'll tell you that.
One of the things that surprised me while researching this wasn't actually the videos themselves. It was how divided the responses were. Under the first video, thousands of people weren't laughing at the woman's story. They were sharing experiences of their own. Some talked about children behaving differently the moment they entered Walmart. Others described an atmosphere they couldn't quite put into words. Some even claimed they'd witnessed people appearing, disappearing, or simply feeling wrong. Whether those experiences have ordinary explanations or not, what's difficult to ignore is just how many people felt compelled to say, "I've experienced something similar." But the moment the conversation shifted from strange encounters to the possibility that certain products might carry spiritual significance, the tone changed completely. Suddenly, the comment section became a debate. Some viewers applauded the women for encouraging discernment. Others argued that they were reading far too much into ordinary products. And then came a phrase that appeared again and again: religious psychosis. That caught my attention because it's a term that's increasingly being used online whenever someone interprets unusual experiences through a spiritual lens. In clinical psychology, psychosis has a very specific meaning. It isn't simply believing in spiritual realities or holding religious convictions. It refers to a loss of contact with consensual reality, often involving persistent delusions or hallucinations that significantly impair daily functioning. Those distinctions matter because throwing clinical labels into internet arguments doesn't necessarily help us understand what's actually happening. At the same time, history shows that human beings have always interpreted extraordinary experiences through the worldview they already hold. A committed materialist may look at the same event and see coincidence, cognitive bias, or pattern recognition. A deeply religious person may interpret it as spiritual warfare. Someone immersed in New Age spirituality may describe it as energy or vibration. The experience may be similar, but the explanation often reflects the lens through which the person sees the world. As I kept digging, I realized these Walmart stories weren't existing in isolation. They were intersecting with a much larger conversation taking place online about influence, symbolism, and whether everyday objects can carry more than just practical value. That's when I came across a series of testimonies from someone who identifies as a former practitioner of witchcraft. In those interviews, she describes her past involvement with occult practices and claims that spiritual manipulation can extend beyond rituals and into ordinary objects through intention, enchantment, and symbolism. Whether you accept those claims or reject them entirely, they represent another perspective that keeps resurfacing whenever conversations like this gain traction. What's interesting is that this isn't a new idea. Throughout history, many religious traditions, not just Christianity, have warned that physical objects can sometimes become associated with spiritual practices. Others reject that possibility altogether, arguing that objects are simply objects unless people assign meaning to them. Once again, we're looking at two completely different frameworks trying to explain the same observations. And that's what makes this investigation so fascinating. We're no longer just asking whether someone really saw a woman with an impossible smile in a Walmart parking lot. We're asking a much bigger question. Why are so many people coming from completely different backgrounds arriving at similar feelings while explaining them in completely different ways? Is this a powerful example of psychology shaping perception? Is it internet folklore evolving in real time? Or are these stories pointing towards something that one group of people dismisses, while another believes deserves to be taken seriously? Because after this, the stories become even stranger. They're no longer just about unsettling feelings or unusual products. They're about people who insist they witnessed events they still can't explain years later. And that's where this investigation takes another turn.
Hey everyone, I have a really important message that I wanted to share with everyone because I feel like it's so important for women and young people, and even just for all of us as we're out living our lives and doing things, that we're watching for each other, watching out for each other, because I never in a million years ever thought that this would happen to me. So I wanted to share my experience with you. So hopefully, if it does happen to you, you can either avoid it, or if you're unable to avoid it, you know what the next steps are to protect yourself and to make sure that you get home safe. But I was in Florida, and I was shopping for a table at Walmart, and a young woman approached me and said she was a missionary from Brazil and asked if she could pray with me, and we had some conversation, and she turned her backpack around and unzipped it and pulled out these 2 books and said, "Hey, I have these for you," and she handed them to me. And my reflex was to take them. You know, when someone hands you something, you just take it. And I'm looking at these books, and they were wrapped in a plastic wrapper that was kind of worn and a little cloudy looking. And I'm looking at these 2 books wondering what is going on, and she was telling me that I could buy the 2 books from her for $20. And once I realized she was trying to ask me to buy the books, I said, "Oh no, thank you, I don't need these, but thank you." And I handed them back to her, and she took them back and stuck them in her backpack, zipped it up and said, "Okay, thank you," and walked away. And I thought, wow, that's a strange thing to happen. And I started walking toward where to check out. And within less than a minute, I'd say 30 seconds to a minute, all of a sudden, boom, I started getting very dizzy. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm so dizzy. I'm gonna really quickly get this table. I'm not gonna shop for anything else. I'm gonna go to my car to try to compose myself. And as I was walking out to the register, I looked down an aisle and I saw her down the aisle texting very nervously. And at that point, I started getting more and more dizzy. And then I realized, oh my goodness, I think I've been drugged. There must have been something on those books that she handed me that I'm now feeling. And I've been an athlete and had multiple surgeries, and so I know what it feels like when you take a painkiller, something to help with the pain. And it felt like I took 20 painkillers all at one time. I was so disoriented and dizzy and just had a hard time composing myself. And so once I realized that I had been drugged, I wondered if she was texting maybe the people that she was working with and letting them know what I looked like, so they would know who she had given the books to, so they could be on the lookout. I'm assuming they were trying to traffic somebody. That's what they were there for. And so at that point, I heard clear as day. I just feel like God gave me clear instructions. And I was told, go to where there are a lot of people, stay around a lot of people, because my instinct was to go to my car and to isolate or go to the bathroom. But no, I needed to be around where there were a lot of people. So I kept walking, and I saw the pharmacy to my right, and there was a bench at the pharmacy. So I sat on the bench because I thought I was going to pass out. And then again, I heard more instructions. Let them know that you're alone. So I'm assuming so that someone didn't just walk up to me and say, "Oh, this is my girlfriend," and pretend like they knew me and walk me out of the store, and no one would even question that. So I went to the pharmacist and I let him know something had happened, and I let him know that I was alone. And he came over, he's like, "Are you okay?" I said, "No, I think I've been drugged." And so they had Narcan available in case I had any reaction to it, in case I had any trouble breathing or anything, which praise God I didn't. But they called security, and security came over, and it was very, very hard for me to talk. It was taking everything within me to stay conscious and speak clearly. And I couldn't even remember what the girl looked like that I had just seen a couple minutes before. I just remembered she was shorter and had long black hair. I couldn't remember the clothes she was wearing, none of it. That's how disoriented I was. And I just wanted to share this story, not to scare people, but again, I never ever thought that this would happen to me. So I want you to know, if anybody ever tries to hand you anything, a book, a flyer, a business card, a candle, just anything, you do not have to take it. You can just say, oh no, thank you, I'm fine. You do not have to take it from them. Secondly, if you do end up touching something that might have chemicals or something on it that make you feel dizzy and you feel it hit you, your instinct is to isolate. It's to go hide. But you need to do the exact opposite. You need to be around a lot of people. Stay where there are a lot of people. Your instinct is to not make a scene and, keep to yourself until it passes. But you need to make a scene. You need to let people know that you're alone, that you don't know anybody else in that area or anybody else in that store where you are. Because I believe that those two decisions are why I'm still here today and why I'm okay. And they were unsuccessful in that. And I thank God that they chose me, because I had the instruction and I knew what to do and I knew where to go to be safe. And I'm so grateful for that. When it hit me, I knew what that feeling felt like, because I had had so many surgeries before. And so I knew what was happening to me. And I think of just younger people that maybe don't know what that feels like would think, oh, I'm so dizzy, I'm gonna go to my car. And you never know what's waiting for you around the corner. You never know what's waiting for you out in the parking lot when you're by yourself and you go out there. I mean, everything can happen so fast. In an instant, your whole life could change and you might not be going back home.
I just keep happening over and over. I keep seeing it, but I never say anything about it. But I'm going to be open to what's really I've been seeing. Listen, I know that God is working on our behalf. We all know that. We know that God is pouring out his blessings on us. We know that. We understand that. But I'm in the era. I'm not going to say we. I'm at a spot after seeing all the miracles and stuff that God worked in my life, and I see them. I'm at a spot to where I've never seen anything like I'm seeing with the outside world. Y'all, when I go in Walmart, like I said on the video before, when I go in Walmart, I'm walking around, y'all, and I don't mean this in no ill way, in no kind of ill way, but I'm just telling the truth, and I guess this is the way we learn. Somebody else, I'm sure other people are experiencing this. I goes into Walmart, and I see a lot of people walking around, but to me, my spirit tells me, Willie, they're not even real. If y'all would bear with me, please. Y'all, I've been around people that I picked up good spirits from. I've been around people that I picked bad spirits from. But y'all, I'm looking at all these people, and to me, I'm going to be honest with you, it seems like they appear out of nowhere. Let me show you something. I tested this the other day. I had to test it because God gives us a little bit at a time to show us things. We at a spot now like we ain't never been before. Manifestations are being, our gates are being opened. Something is being revealed. You remember when God told Daniel, when Daniel was asking him about something, God told Daniel, he said, go your way, Daniel. He said, you will be resting in your lot, meaning that you will be asleep during this time. He said, it's not for you to even know right now. A lot of stuff now is being revealed to us. I'm in Walmart. Y'all, I picked this up. Okay, let me tell you what happened. One of the times I was in there. I'm in Walmart, and there was this old man, a white man, and he was just walking around behind me. And I could tell, too, by this, it's like they're really eager. It's like they're really looking for something. But please stay with me. Here was this old man behind me, old white man. He just had a little cart, and he was just running around. But he was behind me. And I'm trying to get away from him. I just don't want you behind me because it's a spirit that I'm not familiar with, and I don't want to be a part of me. Y'all, it got to the point to where I wanted to just, like this, is to keep him away from me. And I did a little bit. I tried to move up, and he walked by me. Then he found, because I stopped, and I got out of his way. That man did not stop until he walked up there. Oh, excuse me, and patted me twice. And I rebuked that. I did not like that, period. Yesterday, I was in Walmart. I didn't want this particular food I looked at, but I'm just thinking about it. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking about it. The same thing happened, but this time it was a little old white lady. She ran up behind me and she just picked it up and then I said, wait, this is the same pattern I've been seeing. It's something wrong. I was just listening to this one video of this lady. And matter of fact, I'm going to see if I can get it for you. Or maybe some of you all know which video I'm talking about, but she's standing in the street and she's saying, y'all, don't no cars come down this road. She said, the road is blocked off. She said, I was trying to tell y'all that people just appear out of nowhere. And she's standing in the street and a whole bunch of cars is coming back to back, but the road is blocked off. She said, what we're seeing is not really what's there. So like I said, we're in a different era. And I did want to bring that up because I'm sure that someone out there has experienced or knows something about what I'm trying to say here. Okay, I love you.
There's something I've noticed while putting this documentary together. None of these stories actually prove the same thing. In fact, they often point in completely different directions. One person believes they encountered something spiritual. Another believes they narrowly escaped a crime. Someone else believes certain products carry symbolic or spiritual influence. Another walks into the same store and simply feels that something isn't right. On the surface, these stories have almost nothing in common, except one thing. They all begin in a place that couldn't be more ordinary: a Walmart. And maybe that's exactly why they spread so quickly. Because when strange experiences happen in places we'd expect them, a supposedly haunted house, an abandoned hospital, an old cemetery, we almost anticipate them. But when people begin describing unsettling experiences in the same stores where we buy groceries, school supplies, and laundry detergent, it forces us to ask different questions. As someone who believes the spiritual realm is real, I don't think every strange experience should automatically be dismissed. Scripture doesn't present the unseen world as fantasy. It presents it as reality. But at the same time, the Bible never encourages believers to abandon wisdom or critical thinking. In fact, it repeatedly calls us to test what we see, to exercise discernment, and to avoid being carried away by every extraordinary claim. That balance is important, because if everything is spiritual, eventually nothing is. But if nothing is spiritual, then we've already decided the answer before we've even examined the evidence. I don't think either extreme leads us to the truth. And this is why, if you're a long-time subscriber of this channel, you will realize that I investigate these things from a different lens. And maybe that's why this conversation matters. Not because we're trying to prove that Walmart is somehow different from every other store, but because these stories reveal something deeper. They reveal that more and more people are wrestling with the same question. Are there moments when what we can see isn't the whole story? That is the question we need to answer. That is what opens up the door to people who might not believe in the supernatural to start examining things closer. Whether these experiences are psychological, environmental, criminal, spiritual, or some combination of those things, one thing becomes very clear. People are searching for discernment. They're trying to make sense of experiences that don't fit neatly into the categories they've always relied on. And perhaps that's the most interesting pattern of all. But I'm curious. What are your thoughts about the stories we've heard today? And have you had personal encounters you'd like to share with us? I'm eager to hear from you below, and I'll see you next time.